All right, everybody. This adventure, we're on our way over to the boys' house to get his Monte Carlo. As you guys just seen, we hooked the trailer up. And we're going to bring the car here because he's got something going on with he don't know what it is. He sent me a little video clip. I did a short on it to see what everybody's opinion was, but I think it sounds coming from the rear end, but you never can tell until we get it apart. So the missus is at work. I got 2 hours to kill. I told him I'll just load up and come over there and grab it. So that's what we're doing. We're heading that way to go over and pick it up and bring it to the house and see if we can get it figured out. It's the end of the season. If it is the rear end, we'll get it torn apart and get it fixed, and we're gonna pull the engine out of it. He's got a little bit of a oil pan leak, and we're gonna switch that solid roller in it this winter also. So, but just figured I'd bring you along for the ride. That's what we're up to. I'm gonna flip you guys around and hang with us. There we go. We got her all loaded up. Take me a couple screenshots for my thumbnail. Kids are being, man, you got that tire all chewed to shit. I'm telling you, even with the new springs, the Monroe Racing Super Springs, this thing still leaves so hard that it chews the shit out of these tires. This one more than the other one. Does the G-body things, but yeah, we're all loaded up, ready to rock and roll. He put too much weight on there. Needs a bath, but we'll get her back to the house and get her unloaded and see what kind of carnage he did now. I'm telling you, for a little 355 with that baby cam in it, that thing makes some torque. Find it? He's looking for my impact socket he's had for months. Every time I go to open up my socket set, I see that socket missing and I remember you. Still didn't put your door panel on either? Huh? Makes it faster.
Remember, I use it for that alternator.
Yeah, the alternator thing. It's got to be here. Or in your. Where's your impact? Anyways, guys, we're gonna find the socket. I'll bring you guys back when we're heading to the house. All right, and we're off back towards the ranch. See what kind of carnage. I didn't hear any noise when he was backing it out and turning to get it lined up with the trailer. I didn't hear nothing. So he said it sounded like something was binding up, like a spring, but I don't know. We're gonna get it to the house. We'll get it in the air, and we'll go through the whole thing front to back again. I told him, I said, you own a race car, you gotta periodically go through and check everything, all your bolts. It's called preventative maintenance. But he's young, he'll learn. There she be. Back at home where it belongs. Where work actually gets done in maintenance. Tyler, you gotta check maintenance on your car. No, I'm just playing. Shit happens, but I gotta unload the trailer, go pick the missus up from work, and then we'll get this thing unloaded and get it in the garage, and we'll go from there. So, alrighty, it's the next day. As you guys can see, we still got Ty's Monte Carlo on the trailer there. I gotta move my cardboard here, move my little stool, some blocking for my hitching, get the El Camino fired up and moved over there. I'm gonna set his car over here for now, and we're gonna pull the rear end cover off it and see if it is the rear end or what's going on underneath there. If it's something major, like a ring and pinion, then we're going to take it over to Tony's shop. He's got the presses and all that stuff to press on a new pinion bearing and all that, so we'll do that over there if it is the ring and pinion. If it's just the spider gears, we're probably going to get one of them little lockers for in between it, like a mini spool, not just the blocks that go in where the spider gears go, not a full spool, like a mini spool for it, and give everything a once over while it's here. So I'm going to put you guys on the tripod and get the El Camino fired up and get it shoved over, and then we'll get his car off the trailer and backed up in here. Gotta hook the battery up. All right, we're back out here today. It's been a couple days since we got the boys' car here. As you guys can see, we got it in the shop here. I got my cardboard out. We're getting ready to jack it up and get it on jack stands and see what we can find out about the rear end here. Whether he hurt it or he had a coil bind, I don't know. Like I said, he sent me a video, a short little video clip of him rolling the car back and forth, and it was making some clanging. But when we went to load it on the trailer, I didn't hear anything. We got a nice crappy day here in Michigan also. It's pouring rain out. I fired up my wood stove for the first time this year. As you guys can see here, I kind of moved things around. I got a straight shot with my 8-inch chimney, double wall chimney pipe there. Because the old boy that I get my wood from, he was telling me every 90-degree elbow that you have in there, that takes up 30% of your draft. So, I mean, I was losing almost 60% of draft just by having them 290 elbows in there. Or maybe it was 15. 15% of the draft, 30 total. So, but, you know, so I decided to move the stove back and just put in straight up through the roof. And I went and got a roll of insulation, packed insulation around it. I ended up mounting my squirrel cage furnace fan on the wall here. I cut a hole on the outside. That way it's blowing the heat out of this room out here into the main shop. So, and I also have my little fan there on the ground, pointing up to keep this area on the ceiling cool, because these centers are only 16 on center versus a regular building is 24 on center. So with that being an 8-inch stovepipe, you know, it's kind of scary, I guess you'd say. But I got everything. It's double wall pipe. I have license plates stuck up through the roof, so that would make it like a triple wall. And I have plates on the beams that would make it, you know, quadruple, so nothing's getting close to the wood. And plus this year I packed insulation on there around the pipe. I took my little step ladder here and I got it rolling pretty good. And everything is nice and cold up there around the ceiling, so I feel pretty safe with that. But it is what it is. So I'm gonna get the car jacked up on jack stands, and we'll bring you guys back. We'll start getting this diff cover ripped off and see what we can see. So another thing I noticed when I was jacking up, the bolt or the nut that holds the shock bracket onto the rear end is real loose on the shock bodies here. Now that I got pressure on it, it ain't too bad. But the other side over there is actually missing the nut completely and fell right out, and I shoved it back in. So yeah, we're gonna have to get some nylocks and put on the back side of these shock brackets after we get it up in the air. Looks like there's a spot on the rotor that's cleaned off. Hopefully nothing's rubbing on it. Well, we'll have to get it apart. So we're getting her up in the air. I'll bring you all right back. All right. First thing I'm gonna do is break these caps loose. Ow. Loosen up the back, the brace. Now we're gonna drain the fluid and see what it looks like. Hopefully it ain't black and nasty, because we just put fresh fluid in it when we built the car. Don't see any big chunks of metal on here. A little bit of black wear, but I mean, that fluid looks great. Hopefully it's something besides the rear end. I know this car's got a lot of torque and all, but I wouldn't have thought it would broke the rear end. I already did go through and loosen, crack all the cover bolts loose, save time on the video. Get the top ones out here. I can probably use my impact. Now let me see if I can get my thing in. We'll try using the impact right now. And by impact, I mean my drill. There's no better smell than used gear lube. If you guys had smell-o-vision, you would know what I'm talking about. Which I'm sure a lot of you guys on here already know what I'm talking about. I think rear end fluid is probably one of the worst smells out here. And burnt transmission fluid. She's draining pretty slow. I might have to help her along a little bit. Looks like the gasket might have been leaking on that rear end anyway. I don't know if you guys can see over here, but see what I mean? There's no bolt at all on this shock. And that side's loose. The passenger side's loose. So, I mean, anytime you got a car with a cam and solid mounted exhaust, which there's rubbers in the hangers and stuff, so I guess it ain't solid mounted, but 3-inch exhaust underneath the car, it just rumbles and it shakes everything loose. You have to periodically go through, nut and bolt check everything. Trans, converter, shocks, rear end, everything. That wood stove, I don't know if it was a good idea to start that up or not, because she is warm in here. Didn't miss any bolts, did I? There we go. And the fluid does look good. There's my washers. There's no chunks of metal in the cover. which is a good sign, which I guess that doesn't mean nothing. Silicone out of the way, because I am going to reuse this fluid. Try and save him some money. Get my light over here. Let me see if I can slide you guys in a little closer, and we'll both look at this together. We'll spin it around and check the teeth, and let me see if I can get you in a little closer without messing everything up here. Let me get everything moved around, and I'll that way we can both look at this together. Slide this ahead now. That should do it. So let's spin this. That might help if I put the car in neutral, huh? Be right back. Spider gears look good in there. Ring and pinion. It's got a good wear mark on it. It's not sharp. Usually on ring and pinions, if you know they're getting water bad, the tips, the very tops here of the gear, be paper thin and razor sharp. These are still nice and thick. I want to make sure that posi unit didn't explode. I'm looking at the pinion too. Make sure it didn't knock any teeth off the pinion. Pinion looks brand new too. Spider gears. I don't know how well you guys can see in there or not. Posi unit looks good. All the springs are still intact. Spider gears look intact. I don't think, to tell you the truth, I don't think it was in the rear end is what he was hearing. And the rear end's called for the backlash anywhere from I'm going to say 6 to 8 thousandths, 4 to 8 thousandths, somewhere in there, and that's probably right on the money. I mean, that's not bad at all. I want to check this bolt here that holds the pin in. I'm going to grab a little wrench and check that out. Everything looks good in here, guys. I don't see anything wrong with the rear end at all. Spider gears up there, all up in here look brand new, nice and clean. There is no chunks and nothing laying on the floor of the housing, which if you broke a ring or a spider gear, it would be down in there. I mean, everything looks brand new, which it should, because it was. I mean, he paid good money for this rear end. This is out of a Grand National, 8.5 inch 10 bolt. They're very sought after rear ends. But let me get cleaned up and I'll bring you off the stand here, and we'll talk about what I see and what we're going to do next. Well, as you guys seen with me, the ring and pinion looks perfect. It's nice and thick on the outer edges of the teeth on the ring. The pinion, same way. All the spider gears looked intact. All the springs on the posi unit are still all there. Nothing's loose in there. Nothing's kicked sideways. The backlash is, I feel, right in the money. So I don't think it's internally inside the rear end is what he was hearing. What I am going to do on the next video, though, this video is running pretty long. And I just wanted to, for this video, make sure it's nothing internally inside the pumpkin. I am going to end up taking his big tires off and take the brakes off and make sure nothing's rubbing on the rotor and the calipers are tight. And I'm going to check the axle bearings. I'm not going to pull the axles out. I'm just going to stick my pry bar underneath the bottom of the tire and lift up and check for, you know, I already did pretty much move this around. I mean, back and forth, yeah, that's the backlash, but there is no movement up and down. That's going to lead me to think that an axle bearing went out. And there's no load on the rear end right now. This explains why his tire is chewed to shit, is because the shock on this side wasn't hooked up and working. So how long that's been loose and non-functional as a shock should be, I don't know. So I know we put new super stock springs in here, or he did. So, well, I'm going to go get nylocks for the back of the shock bodies to bolt them to the rear end. I'm also going to tighten them rear shocks up. I think I got them in the middle right now at 70-30 on the rear. I'm going to tighten them right down for the compression. That way it doesn't compress the rear end down so hard. The front end I'm going to leave loose. I think I got it set at 50-50 on the front and 70-30 on the back. So I'm going to tighten the back up since I got to take the shocks off anyway, the bottoms. So they're a 3-way adjustable. So I'm going to tighten them right down as far as rebound goes. It's the squat. We're going to take the squat out of it and help. And I'm going to try and talk him into running a set of 8-inch wheels. I don't know, you know, if with them being that wide of a tire and the offset being sticking out so far, I'm sure it's putting a little bit of load on the ends of the axles where the bearings go. But like I said, I can't feel any play in there at all, so I don't think it's a bearing problem either. You know, you would hear it when you roll it over, grinding or something. Everything feels smooth. Everything sounds good. So maybe it was from the shock being off and the coil spring binding up and moving around. I don't know. But that's my next plan on the next video is I'm going to rip the tires off, rip the brakes off, rip the rotors off, double check all that stuff, retighten everything all back up, and we're going to go from there. But as usual, guys, I really appreciate everybody for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next video. All right. Bye-bye.